Hey everyone, today we're diving into the Las Vegas Raiders and why I think they just got some fantastic offseason news. If you've been following this channel, you already know I'm a big fan of where this organization is headed. Their future looks bright, and they're setting themselves up for serious success. Now you might notice something different. The background. That's because I'm recording from Lafayette, Indiana, where I'm attending a biblical counseling conference. But hey, no matter where we are, there's always time to talk sports, right? If you're new here, welcome. My name is Craig, and along with my buddy Chris, we run Sports Talk Detroit, our main channel. Yes, we're Lions fans, and we're proud of it. But our goal here is to give you an honest take on your team, and today, the focus is on the Raiders. Now let's get to the big question. What's the key to a great offseason? The answer always starts at one position: quarterback. Every successful team has to figure out who's leading the offense. And right now, there's one name that keeps coming up behind the scenes: Tom Brady. Is Brady really pulling the strings, or is it just media hype? Maybe it's because of the Pete Carroll coaching rumors or the Ben Johnson speculation. Whatever the case, it's clear that Brady has a vision for the QB position. Recently, an article broke down how Brady evaluates quarterbacks, and it's fascinating. He values grit, hard work, and intelligence over just raw physical talent. He wants a guy who has fought his way to the top, someone who is dedicated, studies the game, and plays smart. In short, he wants a quarterback like himself. Now, where the article missed the mark is that it focused only on rookies. Yes, there are some interesting names out there: Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, and Will Howard. But is the right answer really in this draft class? That's the big question, and that's exactly what we're going to break down today. When it comes to cerebral quarterbacks, believe it or not, Shedeur Sanders might be the best of the bunch. Because he's Deion Sanders' son, some people assume he's just a legacy kid, or that he's had everything handed to him. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Shedeur has put in the work. He studies the game, understands the details, and has shown that he's more than just a big name. He's got serious talent. But here's where that article missed the bigger picture. It focused only on rookie quarterbacks, when in reality, the NFL is full of guys who have worked their way up. Yes, Tom Brady was one of the ultimate examples of that, but he's not the only one. There are plenty of quarterbacks around the league who weren't handed success. They earned it. Some of them are still proving themselves, while others have already had breakout seasons. Now let's shift gears a bit. Roster construction. If you're thinking, can the Raiders even afford a big QB move? You're not alone. That's a huge question, and we'll get into it in a second. One wild prediction I came across said, the Raiders will sign Sam Darnold to a 3-year, $120 million deal, start the season 3-0, and ride the momentum of offensive coordinator Chip Kelly's system to national attention. Wait, what? Yeah, I have a lot of questions too. Sam Darnold for $120 million. A Chip Kelly resurgence? That's a bold take. But hey, crazy things happen in the NFL. Speaking of wild moments, I remember covering the Pro Bowl in Hawaii, and after what felt like hours of driving, I ended up at a tiny sushi restaurant that looked like something out of a storybook, a wooden A-frame house in the middle of nowhere. And guess who was sitting out front, totally relaxed, taking in the moment? Pete Carroll. From that day on, I understood his magic, the energy, the confidence, the belief in something bigger. And if he's truly coming to the Raiders, we might see something special unfold. I'm not about to start doubting Pete Carroll now. The message is clear. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is, Carroll finds a way to succeed. We've seen it time and time again. Sure, he's not considered an offensive mastermind, but let's be real. He's had great offenses everywhere he's coached. At USC, his teams put up historic numbers, especially during the Matt Leinart era. And yes, having Reggie Bush and an insanely talented roster helped, but those were still some of the most explosive offenses in college football history. Then, he goes to the Seattle Seahawks and takes a rookie, Russell Wilson, to immediate success. Later, he does the same with Geno Smith, a quarterback most people had written off. Now let's ask the real question. How has Russell Wilson performed since leaving Carroll? He went to Denver, things fell apart. Then he landed in Pittsburgh, where it seemed like a fresh start, but again, it didn't click. Meanwhile, Pete Carroll kept finding ways to win with different quarterbacks. That's what makes him special. He builds systems that set quarterbacks up for success. He hires the right people to make sure the offense works. And his defenses create opportunities for the offense to thrive. So when you ask, does Sam Darnold make sense for the Raiders? Honestly, yes. With Pete Carroll running the show, you have to believe he could bring out the best in him. All right, time me if you want. I'm going to spend 30 seconds talking about another quarterback, and then we'll break down why the Raiders' strategy makes perfect sense. So here's the other quarterback I want to mention, Aaron Rodgers. Yes, you heard that right. I've seen the documentary, and I'll be honest, I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan. And no, it's not just because I love the Detroit Lions. I was a huge fan of Brett Favre, even when he played for the rival Packers. But Rodgers, I actually dislike him more now in his 2 years with the Jets than I ever did in Green Bay. Why? Because I think he can ruin a franchise quickly. His personality and leadership style don't always mesh well with a team's culture. And yet, the Raiders are still one of the favorites to land him. I'll say this loud and clear. I don't think that's the right move. If I were the Raiders, or any other team for that matter, I would rather have Sam Darnold than Aaron Rodgers. And here's why. Signing Rodgers would eat up nearly 40% of the Raiders' remaining cap space. That's a massive commitment for a short-term gamble. But the Raiders don't just have cap space, they have draft picks. Lots of them. Let's break it down. 6th overall pick, 37th pick, 68th pick, 73rd pick, 107th pick. That's a ton of value in the top 100, giving them flexibility to build a complete team. So here's the smarter move. Get Sam Darnold on a reasonable deal, then use those picks to load up on talent. Want to strengthen the defensive line? Draft Mason Graham. Need help in the secondary? Take Will Johnson. How about adding a top-tier receiver? Grab Tetaroa McMillan at number 6. Want a dynamic playmaker? Go get Travis Hunter. The possibilities are endless when you manage your cap space wisely. And that's why buying low on a quarterback and building around him makes perfect sense for the Raiders. If a top player is still available, go get him. The Raiders have options, and that's the beauty of their situation. Want a great running back? Trade back and draft Ashton Jeanty. Need to solidify the offensive line? Kelvin Banks Jr. is a fantastic option. Looking for a playmaker at wide receiver? Matthew Golden is a name to watch. And here's the best part. This draft is stacked. The defensive line and running back classes are deeper than we've seen in years. That means even with later picks, 68th, 73rd, etc., the Raiders can load up on talent and build a strong, balanced roster. Pair that with smart free agent signings, and suddenly you don't need an elite quarterback to compete. You just need a good enough QB, and you can build a winning team around him. That's why I believe the Raiders just got fantastic offseason news. They've been linked to Sam Darnold, a QB who under Pete Carroll could thrive. They've also been linked to Aaron Rodgers, but as I said before, I don't think that's the right move. Oh, and by the way, Justin Fields is still out there, in case anyone's wondering. This is shaping up to be a very exciting offseason for the Raiders. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.